Okay. Are we allowed to press things now? I'm gonna save and try to press. Okay. The last time I met with Mr. Cochin was here at the Theatrum Neutralis. After that, I was in Alabash the rest of the time, as I stated earlier. In any case, I did not see Mr. Cochin again after that. So you see, there's no time span in which I could have killed him. Wouldn't you agree? Now, since you people are practically begging, I'll allow you to question me. What an arrogant old man! Yes, but no matter, we can't allow this chance to escape us. I will warn you though, you've reached the end of my patience. Waste my time with any inane questions, and you will be punished. Okay, so we're getting double penalties for things. So anything that's pressing or presenting will cost more to our case. In that case, the only thing you can do is to present the correct evidence. Understood? Of course. I don't intend to let him intimidate me. I know Mr. Cochin was killed before he returned to Babal. In which case, there was only one statement to which I need to present the evidence. Okay. Rebuttal. First things first. We're doing this. Okay. So. I killed, let's see. Wait, no, let's see. There is... Let's see. The last time I met with Mr. Cochin was here at the Theatrum Neutralis. After that, I was in Alabash the rest of the time, as I stated earlier. In any case, I did not see Mr. Cochin again after that. So you see, there's no time span in which I could have killed him. Wouldn't you agree? Let's see. The murder weapon can be seen in his bouquet in the commemorative photo. This is when they met. So if you're saying I met with Mr. Cochin here at the Theatrum Neutralis, then that would have been the time span in which you could have killed him. Right? Like you would have had to have killed him right then. So if we can't press, I'm gonna press it and see if he just immediately gives me a penalty. Your alibi is that there was no time span in which you could have killed Mr. Cochin. Yes, because I was in the theater watching the stage show. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, do you ever see him sit in the audience? I'm sorry, but I don't remember anything outside of what was going on stage. I was enthralled with the stage itself. You shouldn't have been sort of focused on the show, on paying attention to your surroundings. Mr. Edgeworth, it is a fact that Ambassador Arba came to the theater. But I guess you didn't know that because you didn't see him at the Steel Samurai show. But I do recall that he and you had a photo shoot with the Steel Samurai. It looks like you are finally beginning to understand. Now then, will that be all? No, wait! I'm not finished yet. You're not very good at listening, are you? I told you I don't have the time to listen to a bunch of useless questions. Double penalty. The time remaining for me to find the truth has just been blown away. Amazing. Diplomats really do know how to craft answers that don't answer anything. The only place he met the victim was at this theater. Then when was he killed? We know that Mr. Cochin didn't return to Babal alive, which means that the only time he could have been killed is when they were both here. And that means that he was planning to kill Mr. Cochin from the start! Okay. So, you could have done it here, but there's no time span. We're gonna present the commemorative photo.
Objection!
I'd like you to take a look at this picture. I shall have a nice picture, isn't it? I wish to commemorate the restoration of relations between our nations. Oh, it's commemorative, all right. One that captures the proof I need to show that it was you who committed the murder. Come again. This is the knife that killed Mr. Cochin. I see you recognize it as well. You should, for it was you who brought it to this theater. You hid hid in among the flowers you were to give to the Steel Samurai, meaning that you killed Minikochin here at the theater. It's time for me to catch my flight. No! We're not through yet. It's game over for you, Mr. Edgeworth. And I thank you for the entertainment. No matter how passionately you orate, the end result will still be the same. I won't be returning to this country ever again. That's right. This man is an ambassador, and he has extraterritorial rights. No matter how hard we chase after him, we won't be able to have him tried in court. Yes, that's exactly the face you should be making. A little namby-bunny baby face. The face of a worthless cat. No! Now then, ladies and gentlemen, I must bid you farewell. The courts. Is there no one who can lay a finger on this man? Is this really the end? Not so fast. Agent Lang. Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Prosecutor. Get out of my way. My plane is scheduled to take off soon. Sorry, but you're not going anywhere, Mr. Alba. I'm through playing games with you people. You can't touch me. If you do, I would spark an international incident, Agent Lang. Sorry, but no, it wouldn't. What? Hey, Mr. Prosecutor. Good job holding the fort down here until I got back. So, Mr. Alba, your diplomatic immunity has just been revoked. What do you mean? Revoked? Spare me this nonsense and let me through. Like Z says, before aiming for the throat, chew the neck shield off first. Interpol headquarters in the Imperial household of the Kingdom of Alabast. Took a while to get things rolling, but they finally moved on it. The Imperial household? You, what have you done? You've been relieved of your duties as ambassador, Mr. Alba. What? Effective today, effective right now. I chopped you down, Mr. Tree Man. And you have Mr. Prosecutor's videotape to thank for this. Video the Atagarasu protected? You can't be arrested simply because you're an ambassador? In that case, I thought I'd strip you of that title. You underestimated me, a descendant of the founder of detainment philosophy, Lang Z. 4,000 years of deeply entrenched connections and networks around the world have really paid off. It can't be. I don't believe this. My ambassadorship has been removed. Looks like you're finally coming to grips with your new standing. Woohoo! Looks like he's turned docile again. He's probably in shock from the loss of his shield. What a shame. I'd so wanted to use my whip on him. Why is this happening to me? I'm just a hard-working, honest ambassador who's admitted to several crimes already. Do you really think you can still pull that on us now? We've already ripped away the mask and seen you for who you really are, Mr. Alba. Mr. Edge, I was ambassador, Alba. That's less impressive when we already know you can do it. No, I won't be stopped now! He still intends to fight us. So what if I'm no longer an ambassador? You still don't have any evidence on me. The fact remains that you cannot arrest me. I'd expected no less from you, the boss of the smuggling ring. Well, the rest is up to you, Mr. Prosecutor. Understood. You say that I killed Mr. Cochin in the theater, but even if it's true that there was a knife in my bouquet, Oh, I left that bouquet in the theater. So anyone could have taken it out from there and used it, right? Besides, the claim that he was killed there itself is odd. After all, wasn't his body discovered in Bobol? Are you claiming that I carried his body all the way over there? Preposterous! I'll be the one to prove whether it's preposterous or not. Go it. Ex-Ambassador Alba, are you ready? Because this is no game. This is war. Alba's alibi. I killed Mr. Cochin in this theater using a knife that was stuck in my bouquet. I left that bouquet in the theater. Anyone could have taken the knife from there. Besides, Mr. Cochin's body was discovered in Babol, right? There's no way for me to have transported his body from the theater to Babol. Look, don't you think you've had enough fun with me? You've already stolen my ambassadorship from me. Would you have me surrender too? Not so fast. You have no plans to ever return to this country, isn't that right? Did you know that a bunch of your subordinates are seeking asylum because of you? Ha ha ha, as if I care. Hey, Mr. Prosecutor, boot this guy out of the embassy and we can finally end everything. I know, and I will give it my all to see that he leaves in handcuffs. Without the title of ambassador, he is just another witness. Yes, just another witness. All right, what are we waiting for? Let's get this guy. And get him good. I wonder if they understand that all I can do is present evidence to the testimony. Okay, so we still can't press. We're immediately putting something out. I killed Mr. Cochin in this theater using a knife that was stuck in my bouquet. True. I left that bouquet in the theater. Anyone could have taken the knife from there. Besides, Mr. Cochin's body was discovered in Babol, right? There's no way for me to have transported his body from the theater to Babol. And this is where the videotape comes into play. Because we found the pushcart. Right? Steel Samurai pushed this to Alabasta from the dressing room. The bulge is unnatural. We didn't actually get to inspect this very closely. But there definitely isn't no way for him to have done it, right? Pushokarto! Actually, I do believe there was a way to transport the body out of the theater. Perhaps you should give this a look. What is that supposed to be? It's the footage from a security camera that captured the state of the immigration area. Should I congratulate you on getting your hands on it? Just letting you know that we're not the only ones watching your every movement. Thank you for the warning. Now, if you could take a good look at this section here. This lump here inside the pushcart. Do you know what's causing it? Should I? Because I don't. In that case, allow me to enlighten you. This is the cause of the unnatural lump under the cloth in the pushcart. It's just the body, right? Take that! What is the meaning of this? Showing me that? It's to say that the unnatural bulge in the pushcart is Mr. Cochin's body. You had the Steel Samurai wheel his body away from the real crime scene. Larry was your stupidly unwitting accomplice. What a guess! But I wonder if you have any evidence to support it. I admit that for now it is but a hypothesis. However, if you can't prove it, then I'm afraid I must be on my way. I don't have any more time to play with you people. You can't just leave now. Oh! Sorry it took so long, Mr. Edgeworth. Sir! I'm here with your cut. Gummy! Detective Gumshoe, is that the Steel Samurai's pushcart? Yes, sir. I found it in the open-air stage area. So that's where you went. Detective spirit that Pops left me with. I thought I'd follow my gut and go with it, sir. So, Mr. Edgeworth, is this worth anything to the case? Yes, it just might play a major role in solving this case, Detective. But something isn't right. thought that the entire samurai family was in Alabast. Where exactly in the open-air stage area did you find this pushcart? I found it just lying there at the edge of the stage, sir. Oh, well, let's leave that for now and examine the inside, Detective. Yes, sir. Uh-oh, is there gonna be... That is some blood. We don't even need luminol for that. It's blood! This must be Mr. Cochin's blood. Which only goes to prove that Mr. Cochin's body was indeed transported by this pushcart. I believe you understand what this means, correct? You killed Mr. Cochin at this theater and then placed his body inside the pushcart. And then you forced the Steel Samurai to unwittingly move the body for you. I forced him to move the body into Alabast. What nonsense! Why would I bother to do such a thing? You were scheduled to make a speech in Alabast, meaning it was difficult for you to make a stop in Bhopal. Oh, what if you moved the body to Alabast? Because it was your embassy, you could keep an eye on it and tamper with the evidence. And then you smuggled it out of Alabast. No! If I can show how you moved the body from Alabast to Bhopal, then I win. But you can't! The security between the two countries is incredibly tight. I'll be the one to judge whether I can or cannot prove it. And so I ask you to provide us with testimony regarding your movements after your return to Alabast. Grr. Miles Edgeworth, have you figured it out to know how the body was moved? To be honest, I have nothing to support my hypothesis at this time. However, I don't believe I've made a mistake in my logic up to this point. Which means there's no questions that can't be answered, right? The primitive statue was smuggled successfully through a brief flight through the air. So why shouldn't there be an answer as to how the body was moved? Which means that there must be a logic flaw somewhere I can exploit. Can I press things yet? After I returned to Alabast, I had my picture taken with the Steel Samurai shaking hands. Then just as I was about to start my speech, the antagonist appeared. I feared for the national treasures, so I raced back to my office. Is that all? Yes, that's all.
Objection!
Looks like you left out a few things, such as the murder of Damas II. Furthermore, you left out the part about meeting with me in your office. Ah, those trifling matters. I don't believe I need to speak of them. Those things. Again. I do so hate to waste time. What? Is not every life precious? Do you really need me to answer that for you? No. Does every life have these glittering badges? I think not.
Objection!
People like you cannot be allowed to wander freely through society. And you'd better try hard, because I doubt you'll find a single contradiction. He's really full of himself, isn't he? Yes, he is. How can he be so confident at a time like this? Ha 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 ha. Come, don't be shy. Go ahead and ask whatever you'd like. Okay. After I returned to Alabast, I had my picture taken with the Steel Samurai shaking hands. Can we press it?
Hold it!
So I wasn't only with the Steel Samurai, I thought the Pink Princess was also around. The Pink Princess was suffering from a bad hip at the time, and the doctors recommended that she rest. Wow, so you do have a soft side after all! The pain of a bad hip. I suppose none of you can really understand how it feels. Oh, so you tend to strain your back as well, huh?
But isn't that just because you're normally all hunched over, pretending to be more feeble than you are?
You did need to keep up the act no matter what, I suppose. The point of this is not to discuss my back problems. For about 15 minutes after our handshake, I was in my office preparing for the speech. Then, just as I was about to start my speech, the Yatagarasu appeared.
Hold it!
That Yatagarasu was just a trick that you had set up. Ha ha ha! A most amusing joke, and how do you propose that I shut it up? If you really want to know, I can explain it in detail for you. You arranged the spotlights in the rose garden so that when you were to take to the stage, the audience would see the Yatagarasu's shadow. Oh, that is an interesting tale. Sadly, it has nothing to do with me.
You! What's it going to take for you to fess up to anything?
Very well then, let's move on to a different question. After the Yatagarasu appeared, what was the state of the rose garden? Everyone took refuge inside the embassy. I even helped with the effort. And then once everyone was inside, well, I feared for the national treasures, so I raced back to my office.
Hold it!
And what happened after you returned to your office? I don't want to keep on repeating this, however. Upon my return, I had that stroke of bad luck and bumped into Mask Man.
Objection!
And I don't want to keep on repeating this either. But his name was the Mask the Second. Who cares what he was called? By the time he got to the prima duck statue that he was supposed to steal, it had already been swapped for the fake. Talk about an unlucky man being bludgeoned to death with a fake statue. Miss Von Karma's really letting the whip fly now. Eek! I think the scary part is the silence while she's doing it. She must be at the limit of her patience as well. But physical attacks are meaningless here. Only evidence will suffice. Ugh. I can't find a single flaw in his argument. No? But he's lying about so many things. At this rate, I won't be able to prove that he is actually guilty of anything. Are we finished here? Miles Edgepass! Can you not come up with how the body was moved to a ball? Sir. Mr. Edgeworth!
Grr! Even after proving so much, is he going to get away with it?
Is this the end? Hold it! It appears we made it just in time. It would be a great honor if you allow us to be your allies in battle!
Evil Magistrate, it is time for you to pay!
It's the Steel Samurai? No, you're mistaken, for I am Steel Samurai Daddy, married man of Neo Old Tokyo! And this is Pink Princess Mommy!
Edgy Boo!
No, let him get away. He can leave. He can leave. I don't care enough. Oh, it wasn't worth this. The two people that I wanted to see the least. Larry, what are you two doing here? Way to show your gratitude, Edgy. We just wanted to help. Yeesh. I'm gonna get the bad guy with a single thrust of my samurai spear. Go away! Get lost, I don't care! It's not worth this, not worth the case! I'm just gonna lose the game, it's fine!
How can you be so mean to us, Edgy Poo? Now, 3 of us came to lend a hand, and this is how you treat us?
But isn't this grand? And I see they managed to find the Iron Infant! Does that really matter right now? Hey! Is it just me or is the Iron Infant completely soaked? Huh? Oh yeah, I found him on the ball, but he was in the middle of the pool. Huh. Wait a second. Larry, go back to what you just said. Huh? Oh, it appears that we made it not that far back. Something about finding the Iron Infant in Babal, and he found it in a pool. I don't recall there being one in Babal. Oh, that, yeah. Well, I was in Alabasta the whole time. So I have no idea how the Iron Infant wound up in Babal. I thought I lost him in the Rose Garden. But I guess maybe these cute kids can swim, huh? Wait, what? Larry, you lost the Iron Infant in the Rose Garden? Are you sure about that? Yeah, I'm sure. But I found them in,
Hold it!
That's enough, Larry. The Iron Infant that Larry lost managed to move between the two countries. Furthermore, the Iron Infant was found soaked in the middle of a pool. This is what I've been looking for. It's another smuggling route between the countries. The key to the route the Iron Infant took to travel from Alabasta to Babal is... counterfeiting? Bilateral symmetry? What is that? I'm gonna say counterfeiting? In order to move the counterfeit bills that were printed in Babal, someone must have made a secret route along which to transport it all. Okay. But wait, if there was such a route, Agent Lang and his men would have found it already during their investigation. In that case, there must be another secret smuggling route. And I must show the key to that other smuggling route. The key to the route the Iron Infant took to travel from Alabasta to Babal is... bilateral symmetry? Okay. Ah, that's right. This embassy was built with bilateral symmetry in mind. Detective Gumshoe. Yes, sir. There was a location I wish for you to examine post-haste. It is where I believe the route used to smuggle Mr. Cochin's body lies. Does something like that really exist, sir? An embassy built on a bilateral symmetry, meaning that this is where we need to examine. The building is supposed to be symmetrical, but Alabasta has a pool and Babalese doesn't. Both sides should have identical pools if they wanted everything to be super symmetrical. Right?
Take that!
Yeah, yes, sir. I'll be back before you know it. Does that mean I got it right? Or would he have just run off to anywhere I clicked on? It's too late. It doesn't matter now what you do. It's all a waste of time.
You will stay here with us and wait.
You don't have to point your finger at me. I know. You got a lot of guys, and I've lost my ambassadorship. This is Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth. It's here, sir. There's a reservoir here, just like in the Rose Garden. Just as I suspected. What is it? The two sides of this embassy are mirror images of each other, which means that there is also a pool at the corresponding location on the Babalese side. Mr. Cochin's body was moved into Babal through the pool in Alabasta.
Objection!
Avoiding the topic with a vague answer like that is unbecoming of a prosecutor. If you don't mind, I'd like to see more physical proof, if you have any. The Iron Infant is positively soaked in water. Why do you think that is? It's because he was fished out of a pool, and not just any pool. It was the Babalese one. I think it's pretty obvious at this point what must be true. The water reservoirs and the two courtyards are connected.
Objection!
And where is your proof that the two sides are connected?
Objection!
The proof is right there before your eyes. The half-drowned Iron Infant. What? Is it a real person? Or is it just a doll? The blasted doll! Oh, it is a doll, okay. Because otherwise I was going to be a lot more concerned. I just want a baby in the pool. Mr. Edgeworth, I'm back! Hey. Don't tell me, you guys figured everything out without me? We did, thanks to this hero of justice's son, the greatest superhero of all time, whom I'm barely acquainted with. Even if he is just a doll, he managed to help foil the villain.
Knuckle back!
Hey, Mr. Prosecutor, look, I don't want to say this, but it's kind of unlikely that the body just happened to have passed on through to Babal. This guy's a doll and he's small, so I can believe it made it, but...
He has a point. Yes, that's right. I'm glad someone here understands. Mr. Edgeworth, are you gonna next propose that a dead body can swim through a pipe?
You see, Mr. Prosecutor, our chase after this man, is far from over.
Agent Lang. Why is he helping Mr. Alba out now? He's not. He realized the flaw in my argument and is helping to move the logic along. In which case, I should return the favor and find an answer.
And another thing, Mr. Cochin's body was found in his office in Babal. So what happened to his body after it was transported to the open-air stage?
Mr. Alba had an accomplice in Babal, remember?
You mean Sheena, right?
With her there, you can see how it is possible to move the body up to the office.
Objection!
Are you seriously claiming that she swam through the connecting pipe with the body? He's right! Miss Sheena would drown if she did that! It's hard to imagine that she swam through the connecting pipe. Looks like your hypothesis about how the body was moved is still only half-baked. Alright, I should say it's all wet, right? Ha! In the end, it's all just befuddled musings of an accusatory man. Now then, I believe you should give up and allow me passage. Because from the start, there was no feasible method of transporting the body. What? Mr. Prosecutor, recall Sheena's movements. What was happening in the embassy around the time Miss Sheena was in Babal? Oh, if only there was a way to get rid of the water in the pool! Get rid of the water? Like with a fire? Aha! That's it! Now I believe this time we really are done, right?
Objection!
No! We are not done! Objection! Unfortunately for you, it's far from over, Mr. Alba. You are a most persistent man. Are you saying that you thought of a way to move the body through the water? Move the body through the water? That is completely unrelated to how it was done. Excuse me? The reason I say that is because there wasn't any water there at the time.
What do you mean, there wasn't any water?
Just what it sounds like. Tonight's events made it possible to drain the water, allowing the body to be moved. There were 2 fires, so they moved 2 things?
Take that!
Tonight, the Atagarasu set fire to a variety of locations in the Babalese embassy. In order to put the fires out, much of the reservoir's water was used. Of course, then when the water was used, the reservoir's water level went down. If enough water was drained, the connecting pipe could be used to traverse the border.
Objection!
So what? The water level went down? The reservoirs were connected? Does any of this matter? You can't prove any of this! Pretending to be ignorant won't work with me. We both know what kind of situation we're in right now. Even in a game, there comes a critical game-changing moment. A moment in which you hit a wall that you must overcome in order to beat the game. I haven't lost yet. I found the route you used to smuggle the body, and that route will lead to your defeat.
Not so fast!
Even if all the water was used by the firefighting effort, you still can't really call that a smuggling route.
I know that.
Ha ha ha! I should have figured that you would notice. Hey, Mr. Alba, how deep are those pools anyway?
I'll have you know, those pools are extremely deep. And there are no ladders or footholds along the walls either.
It would be difficult for Sheena to hold the body and climb up out of the pool.
Ladders or footholds along the walls? There was no need for such things. What do you mean? If one were to use a certain something that could go up or down in the pool at will.
Oh, it looks like you've got an answer already. Well, what are we waiting for, Mr. Prosecutor? Enlighten us already.
The way in which Miss Sheena and the body were able to rise up to the ground level, if there was a way to control the water level, that could be the way the body was moved. So it's the things. This was used so the body of Miss Sheena could move up and down in the pool. Did they just refill it with the fountain spouts? Auto refills the water when the water level is too low. So they just used up all the water, then went doo 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 doo, and then just floated all the way back up.
Take that!
Right? Mr. Alba used the fountain spouts, in a manner of speaking.
He used the fountain spouts? How so?
The The water level in the pools can be controlled by opening and closing the spouts. Miss Sheena and the body were lifted upward by their buoyancy in water. The fire on the Barbalese side and the firefighting effort. These were set in motion, all for the sake of smuggling Mr. Cochin's body. Ugh! Grrr! Shall I show you where the final destination of my train of logic leads? First, Mr. Albert closed the fountain spouts in advance, in preparation of things to come. Then he took the pushcart that was brought to the Rose Garden, and pushed it along with the iron and fitted Mr. Cochin's body into the pool. At this time, Miss Sheena was busy conveniently starting the first fire in Babal. She then made for the open-air stages pool to wait for the firefighting effort to begin. When the firefighters used the water in that pool, the water level went down. And by the time the fire was put out, the pipe between the two pools was exposed. This is when she pushed the pushcart from Alabast into Babal. Once that was accomplished, Mr. Alba simply opened the fountain spouts once more. It would take a really long time. Yeah, so clearly there's other pipes that opened up, other than just the fountain spouts, because they showed them just there. And the water level rose up to its original level along with Miss Sheena and the body. After that, Miss Sheena used the pushcart to carry the body up to the Secretariat's office. There was an elevator in the embassy after all, so you see, even with her small frame, she could have easily transported Mr. Cochin's body. And that wraps up my thorough explanation of how the body was moved. No! Well, ex-Ambassador Alba, what do you think? Not so untouchable without your precious extraterritorial rights to protect you, are you? I knew you could do it, Mr. Edgeworth! Way to fight back! You accuse me of moving the body across country lines, but when you get down to the nitty-gritty, you don't have what it takes to indict me. The nitty-gritty? What does the old man want now? Proof, I believe, is what he seeks. Yes, proof. Without any, who's to say whether or not any of what you said really happened? He wants proof? What are we going to do, Mr. Edgeworth? There's no need to worry. I've had all the proof we need all along. The body wasn't the only thing to go through the pools connecting the pipe tonight. Just as Detective Gumshoe found the pushcart in the open-air stage area, so too did I find one other item there. And that piece of evidence is what will prove that the pools were the smuggling route. This was another thing that was smuggled over to Babal's open-air stage area. The knife was moved, probably, at some point. The statues we know were done by the wire up on top of the thing. The body was moved, the cart was moved. The other wet thing. Oh, it's the pick! It's wet for some reason. The red herring that we've been staring at this whole time. And what exactly is this? You have no idea, do you? This little piece that I found on the Barbalese side will be your undoing. A guitar pick? Would you care to explain how that's gonna do me in, as it were? Much to your chagrin, perhaps, but this is not a guitar pick. What? This is something I found at the open-air stage, which was transported with the body. I naturally assumed that you would recognize it, since you took a photo with it, after all. But since you don't, allow me to fill you in on what I found the stage actually belongs to. It's the one that's missing from the knife.
Take that!
We figured that out a while ago and wasn't sure when it would come in. Let's take a good look at the murder weapon that was used to kill Manny Cochin. On the handle of this knife, there was a beautifully blooming flower. However, it would appear that it's missing a single petal. Go. Now let's see what happens when we try to fit this pick in that open slot. Oh, surprise! It's a perfect fit! I assume that the petal must have fallen off the flower during Mr. Cochin's murder. and then it was accidentally placed into the pushcart along with Mr. Cochin's body.
Objection!
Grr, that's an interesting story, nothing more.
Objection!
Oh, I assure you, it's more than just a story. Because for some odd reason, this flower petal was wet when I found it. It was wet, you say? Maybe you licked it. Do you think about that? Yes, and the only place it could have gotten wet from is the open-air stage's pool. Now I ask you, how did a part of the weapon, which was smuggled into the theater, wind up in the open-air stage area on the Babyliss side of the embassy? I don't think I need to waste any words explaining this, as this petal explains it all for me. It proves that someone went from the Rose Gardens pool on through into Babal. Impossible!
The people of Zangfa have been waiting to see you face to face, Mr. Alba. I'll tell everyone back home we'll be there soon. You should be happy.
Why? Why? It's a little late to be asking that question. You should have known from the very beginning. When you took your first life, no matter how you may plot or how you may try to cover it all up, you can never hide from your crime and what you've done. Because we're here to see to it that justice is served to people like you.
Objection!
You can't call what you've given a perfect argument. Why not? You know, I don't think this guy's gonna ever admit to his wrongdoings, Mr. Edgeworth. Because he values himself above all else. People who can't be negotiated with are people who refuse to admit when they've lost. I don't believe those kinds of people really exist because everyone breaks eventually. You're right. In that case, I have no choice but to use all of the evidence I have. I'll use it all until he breaks under the weight of his crimes. Mr. Alba, I request that you testify once more. This really will be the end of the line. Oh God, we've got this guy! Oh, find out what happened next time when we get this guy! Like, comment, subscribe, press the buttons. See you next time. Bye for now.